Hey guys, welcome to the video, and today I'll be reviewing Sea of Stars, a retro-inspired turn-based RPG made by Sabotage Studios, who are also the developers of The Messenger. Today I'll be talking about what I liked and what I disliked about the game to see if you should play it. First, let's talk about Sea of Stars' main characters, Zale and Valere, who are children of the Solstice that wield the magic of the sun and the moon. Children of the Solstice are trained from youth to eventually become Solstice warriors. These warriors are the only known people that can stop evil creatures called Dwellers that are created by an evil alchemist known as the Fleshmancer. Zale and Valere's story begins with them having to learn a special type of magic in order to become Solstice warriors. This is dire because only Zale and Valere's magic can stop the last known Dweller that exists, and they must reach it before the next eclipse. Along their journey, they will be accompanied by companions that I really loved meeting. The first person to join them is their longtime friend Garl, who is a warrior cook. I really liked Garl as a character because of his nice personality, and I also loved how optimistic he was. I also really related to him because he was the cook of the group, and as a cook, I personally really enjoyed seeing Garl get excited about making food. You will also meet a lot of other interesting characters, and I think that Sea of Stars does a great job at introducing new characters while also progressing its story. My only issues with Sea of Stars' story is that I felt like it took a while to finally get to the main climax, but I never got bored because the story always introduced new and interesting characters or had an interesting development that kept my attention. Alongside a really good story, Sea of Stars also has some very fun gameplay. I had a really good time with the game's combat, and it was a complete change of pace from what I'm usually used to. Sea of Stars combat is turn-based and has you use basic attacks like a sword attack or a blunt weapon attack to do damage to an enemy. Alongside your basic attacks, you will also have another ability introduced called Live Magic. The way that this ability works is after you've attacked an enemy, you will drop an orb. Any member of your party can absorb these orbs that will enhance or alter the effects of their next action. You can drop up to 3 orbs after each party member has attacked. If you choose to attack with a standard attack while boosted with Zale or Valere, you will also gain their solar or lunar abilities. For example, if Zale attacks, he'll be dealing sword damage, but will also have his solar damage alongside it. Using this ability was always great for when an enemy had a lock. If you didn't know what locks are enemies' abilities that can be negated. The way that this works is that an enemy will have a symbol shown above their head. If you hit an attack that matches those symbols above the enemy's head before the timer runs out, that ability will be negated. Each attack that matches a lock will lower the percentage of the enemy's next ability. The goal here is to break all locks to negate the next ability before the enemy's timer runs out. This added a really fun strategic aspect to the game that kept me on my toes, thinking of different ways to use my skills and combos to defeat my enemies. Skills in Sea of Stars are also a great time to use because each character has unique skills. Zale has his solar skills where I can shoot a fireball by holding the X button to make it more powerful before I released it. If I were to use Valere's skills, she would have her lunar abilities that had a skill that could send out a moon projectile that bounced off different enemies. Another thing that Sea of Stars does great is its combo system. Here, you can build up a combo gauge by pressing the X button while attacking. If both actions are timed perfectly, you will gain a follow-up attack. You can also reduce oncoming enemy damage by blocking using the same action. After filling up your combo gauge, you will have the option to use a combo ability that has you and your party member combine abilities that are more powerful than skills. This made using combos very useful, especially when I was encountering enemies with harder locks that are harder to negate. Later in the game, you will also have ultimate abilities that are introduced, and these abilities are very useful and I really enjoyed using them too. Sea of Stars also has a very simple upgrade system where you can upgrade your character's attributes like health, mana, attack, defense, and more after you've leveled up. Each attribute is shown randomly and you can only choose one to upgrade per character. I actually like this instead of going through a skill tree that every game seems to have now. On top of all that, Sea of Stars also has an awesome feature called Relics. Each relic toggled on adds an effect that can assist the player, making the game easier. For example, I had this one relic that guaranteed me an extra hit for lock breaking, but reduces the bonus damage for timing the hit by 50%. I also had a relic that shot a flare into the air to signal every time I hit an extra attack or a block. I thought these relics were a great way to make the game accessible to play for any player, and if you're up for a challenge, there are some relics that make the game more difficult too. Relics can be found by looting specific chests or purchasing them at a shop. Other than a really fun combat system, Sea of Stars also has a very beautiful and rewarding exploration. I really enjoyed exploring Sea of Stars' beautiful locations because every island that I explored was so unique. I always wanted to explore every inch of a new island to encounter its new enemies and to look for hidden areas that rewarded chests. I also like how the game introduces key items that will give you access to new areas you couldn't reach before. This had me constantly looking for areas to use these items and to solve an island's puzzles if it had any. One of the first items you will find is the minstrel bracelet that can be used to create a gust of wind. This was always useful for when I needed to push a pillar to reach over a gap or to push objects to solve a puzzle. I really enjoyed completing puzzles in Sea of Stars, and I constantly looked for new puzzles to complete. I also liked discovering solstice temples that were levels dedicated to completing a puzzle. My only issue with the game's exploration is that there's no local map to see the island that you've explored. This was sometimes annoying because I couldn't see my progress that I've made, or I may have missed an undiscovered area because I had no way of seeing where I've previously been. I think a map would have been a nice feature here, but it wasn't anything that took away from my overall experience. Another thing that makes Sea of Stars exploration so enjoyable was gathering a variety of ingredients around each level and cooking up a recipe at a campfire. The way that you could acquire recipes is by buying them at a shop or finding them in a chest. Cooking recipes is one of the most important skills in Sea of Stars because cooking a meal is the main way to restore your character's health and mana. I found cooking near the end of the game to be very important, and it was a must in almost every encounter, especially when fighting against the game's bosses. Boss fights in Sea of Stars is one of my favorite parts about the game, and every boss felt like it was an epic encounter that always had me looking forward to the next one. I really liked how each boss introduced a new and challenging ability that really put my skills to the test. Some fights had me trying to find the best possible solution to use the correct skills and combos so that I could break the boss's locks. When I couldn't break a boss's lock, I was on my toes still trying to block its oncoming attacks. My only issue with boss fights in Sea of Stars is that the bosses never had health bars when battling them. The same goes for when you are battling regular enemies, but I found early on that there was an item that allowed me to see their health bars when I equipped it. Unfortunately, I never found one for boss fights, but I still had a blast finding them in the end. To conclude this video, I had a really great time with Sea of Stars, and I enjoyed its amazing turn-based combat that had me addicted all the way into the end. I also really enjoyed the game's story, and I loved meeting its great cast of characters. I also thought the story had a good conclusion, and it left some unanswered questions for a potential DLC or sequel that I look forward to playing. I did, however, have some issues with the game, and I thought it was a little bit lengthy, but overall I had an absolute blast with this game, and I can definitely recommend it to any fans of the genre. Anyways guys, that's it for me today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a thumbs up and let me know down in the comments, are you guys going to play Sea of Stars, or have you played Sea of Stars? And let me know. I would love to hear from you guys. It's always good seeing your comments, and remember to subscribe for more gaming commentaries like this one. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.